In this video, we're going to talk about how to create the perfect plan for fat loss. So we're going to go through exercise, daily movement, stress and sleep, and finishing off with nutrition. So let's start with exercise. How many times a week should you be working out? And that answer really depends on where you currently are. So what will be a challenge for you that you can sustain? At the minute, if you're not working out at all and just adding in one session a week for 1 hour at the gym, it's going to be quite challenging, but doable. That is the number you're going to start on. Or if it's doing 15 minutes at home every day, great. That's what you're going to start on. But picking something that's sustainable that you think you could do for, say, the rest of your life is going to be the main priority. Because once you have reached your goal of fat loss, you're still going to have to keep in healthy habits to sustain that. What type of exercise should you be doing? Well, during a fat loss phase, you're quite likely to lose a bit of muscle mass as you're trying to lower your overall caloric intake. So doing some form of resistance training is going to keep that to a minimum. Anything with your body weight, squats, push-ups, pull-ups, anything with dumbbells, kettlebells, or using machines. You could even use resistance bands. Now, during this exercise, you want to make sure you are pushing hard. If you've never exercised before, you're probably going to ache just doing a tiny bit of resistance training. But if you have exercised in the past or you're currently exercising at the minute, making sure you are going close to failure on your reps. So if you aim for 10 push-ups, that means number 8, 9, 10 should be really, really difficult. If you're just aiming for 10 and getting 10 comfortably, then that might not be enough to just stimulate you maintaining that muscle mass while you're trying to lose body fat. But as well, exercise is good for energy burn, but when you address your diet, you're probably going to reduce your energy intake anyway. But if you enjoy doing some cardio and aerobic exercise, that's fine. Definitely implement that, because the other priority, you actually want to enjoy your workout to some extent. Because if you enjoy what you're doing, you're more likely to keep it up and sustain it over a long period of time. Now, sticking to a number of days you can sustain, prioritizing some form of resistance training, and then adding in some exercises that you enjoy. Now, let's move into daily movement. Now, what tends to happen when you are trying to reduce food? Energy goes down, meaning your NEAT will go down, which is all the little daily movements you do that you're not really conscious of. For example, I'm moving my hands right now as I speak, so that's going to burn a little bit of energy. As that will start to go down, metabolism does start to go down, energy burn starts to go down. What can we do to avoid that happening? Going for something like a daily walk. You can either track this in steps or time. But at the minute, you only do 5 minutes of walking a day. Try and aim for 10 or 15. If you're only doing 2,000 steps a day, aim for 3,000, 4,000. And something you can sustain. That is going to be the priority. You need to think about doing a lot of these healthy habits for the rest of your life, not just 6 or 12 weeks. Now we move into stress and sleep. This is going to be what affects your behaviors the most. So if you've got poor sleep, high stress, you're more likely to crave food, more likely to make poor choices around portion sizes, and you're just going to feel sluggish and can't really be bothered to go to the gym. This is mainly to do with it's going to mess around with your hormones due to stress being high, sex hormones being low, which is a very poor recipe for fat loss. Some habits we can add in around sleep to start. So making sure you go to bed and wake up at the same time. Even if you have a poor night's sleep one time, try and still get up at the same time, because ideally you'll fall asleep better the next evening. Now, improving your diet, exercise, daily routine should help with your sleep anyway. But you can add in other habits like trying to avoid bright lights before you go to bed. Get plenty of daylight in the morning when you wake up. Other things can be avoiding caffeine, watching too much TV before bed. So then on to stress. Now, you're not going to be able to avoid every stressful situation in your life. I think that's a poor habit to get into, because if you're avoiding more things when something stressful does happen, you're probably not going to be able to handle it too well. Trying to be more mindful and learning how to cope with your current stresses. And I know that's way easier said than done. I'm not an idiot. Stress is just your reaction to a situation. I don't mean be happy and positive about everything. Some things are going to suck. If someone drives into your car, that's not a great situation. Trying to learn how to be proactive and cope with that scenario and make good decisions is going to serve you much better in the long run when it comes to handling stress. Habits you can put in: going for long walks in nature, journaling, painting, taking long baths, anything that helps reduce overall stress. Talking about stress, I'm talking about chronic stress as well. Acute stress like exercise is actually very, very good for the body. I've saved the big one for last, nutrition, because there's tons of information out there. But what we're going to do is just keep it nice and simple and try and design something based around you. First thing you're going to do is use the Harris-Benedict formula online to work out roughly how many calories a day you should be consuming. If you don't like calorie counting and you don't want to calorie count and you're not going to even after watching this video, that's fine, but still work out how many calories you should be consuming each day. Just knowing that number, you're more likely to make better choices when selecting certain foods. So once you know how many calories you should be consuming a day, how many times a day should you be eating? However many you want, because you're not over consuming on your calories. So for me, I like to eat 4 meals a day. You might like to skip breakfast and eat at lunch and dinner. Again, as long as we're maintaining a calorie deficit of about 300 to 500 calories, that is going to be the priority. What foods should you eat? Well, if you base each meal around protein and fiber, protein is going to help keep you satiated, and it's also going to reduce the risk of muscle loss. The high fiber vegetables are going to allow variety into your diet, good gut health, and help keep you full. With the remaining calories, you just add carbs or fats, whatever you prefer. Again, you're trying to make this sustainable, so make sure you pick foods that you actually like. If you don't like tuna, just because it's high protein, don't pick tuna. Try and select a different food that you can actually enjoy and stick to. Let's go through an example. This could be 3 eggs, mushrooms, tomatoes, spinach. So I've got the protein and I've got the fiber. Some fats in from the eggs. Overall, the caloric intake is still quite low. Because the calorie intake is low, I'm going to add a slice of toast. I enjoy eating bread, and my calories are still low enough that I'm going to start losing body fat. Next, lunch, I could make a chicken salad with 4 or 5 different vegetables. Once I've looked at that, calories are still low, so I'm going to add some olive oil and some new potatoes. I like those foods. It still keeps my calories low, makes it a little bit more tasty. Just doing the same for dinner. Protein, vegetables, then add in your other foods. Now, if you want to keep things simple, just pick 2 different meals you enjoy for breakfast, 2 different meals you enjoy for lunch, and 2 different meals you enjoy for dinner. If you're happy to plan more, then pick 7 different meals you enjoy for dinner. But you want to pick something you can stick to, and that's easy. I said base for your meals around higher protein. I didn't say how much. So if you have a target body weight of around about 60 kg, trying to consume about 120 grams of protein to be a good aim. If that sounds like a lot of protein, currently having maybe 30 or 40 grams, start by aiming for 80, work up to the 120. You don't have to get there the next day. With that, you should have a good idea of exercise routine, daily movement, what you're going to do for stress and sleep, and a good idea of a simple nutrition plan to stick to. So how long should you follow this for? Say until you hit your goal, or up to 12 weeks. The reason you want to stop after 12 weeks, it can be quite demoralizing following a fat loss plan for that long. You just run the risk of muscle loss, metabolism slowing down. Bringing yourself back to a maintenance level, focusing on the good habits, making sure they're a part of your lifestyle, and then when you're ready, going back in to the fat loss phase. You can get out of the habit of thinking this is going to be a quick fix and thinking more about how can I completely change my lifestyle. That is ultimately how you achieve a fit and healthy body. With that, I hope this video helped. Make sure you like and subscribe, and drop any comments below if you want more advice.